Borderlands 4 is officially out, and obviously a lot of players are starting to get themselves really leveled up and having questions about what is the end game for Borderlands 4. And unfortunately, we are just right back in the swing of things that we had in Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands, where end game is next to nothing once you finish the game. I'm going to be kind of ranting a little bit about what I think the issue is with this end game and how it needs to improve, because again, we are just kind of doing the same old things again, where, you know, we finish the campaign, it's a great campaign and everything like that, but the end game stuff is just kind of bad. Before I get into this unfortunate rant that I really don't want to do, but I need to get this off my chest, know you can follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch at Birdman778. I'm likely actually probably streaming right now over on my Twitch channel, so make sure you're swinging on over there and saying hi. Let me know that you came from this video. Let me know some of you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's more guides, rants, stuff like that, or if it's, you know, builds for Rafa, Amon, Vex, or Harlow. Subscribe, become a member, and let's get right on into it. So once you beat the main campaign, you are going to unlock essentially what the end game is going to be. First and foremost, one of the first things that you're going to do is go to one of the Moxy big encore machines. Essentially what this is going to do is have essentially the same regular Moxy encore machine mechanics, except you are going to put iridium into it so that it essentially increases the level of the activity and gives you a better chance at a legendary from that boss. This is going to be a weekly rotator on one specific spot. So essentially, you know, let's say again for this one that I am showing in the gameplay, it's Sydney Pointy Legs Fade Fields. You know, there's a drop from him that I really want. I can just go over there, spam 100 iridium, go in there, have a really good shot at getting that piece of gear. Now, I will say, unfortunately, it's not guaranteed. I have gotten, you know, good amount of drops. So far, it's feeling like almost like a, you know, 1 in 5 versus what typically is like a 1 in 20. So it's definitely good, but unfortunately, I will say there are times where, you know, depending on what the boss is, this is definitely not going to be advantageous for you for that week. I really actually do kind of like this mechanic. It's not too bad for me. Generally, I like them having these, you know, specific farm this one spot throughout the world missions. Biggest thing that I would hope is I'd be pretty chill with like spending a little bit more currency on the specific one to just have like a guaranteed drop, just because again, spending 100 iridium for a, you know, a chance to not even get something when iridium is actually so incredibly important in this game is definitely something I'm like, a little bit about. I'd almost rather just spend my regular money and just like farm that same spot over and over again, just because again, I'm not losing that extra valuable currency. Now, unfortunately, I don't have gameplay of this because I'm a big old dumb dummy, but we also have the Maurice's Black Market Machine coming back. This is just going to be a basic vending machine. It's going to have legendaries, except it's a one-time use throughout the week. I'm a little back and forth. Again, kind of the same thing as before. I'd almost rather have like a larger currency tied to it and be able to like spend as much as I can versus like okay, well, this doesn't really have anything I wanted this week, so I guess I'll just grab this one. Oh, it's gone, you know, type of mechanic going on. It's just the Borderlands 3 one gave us a lot more uses of it versus this where it's like a one-time shot for like really no reason. We also have the vaults going on, which is actually probably one of my more favorite pieces of content in the game. It gives me like those vibes of, you know, Proving Grounds from Borderlands 3 as well as the takedowns kind of like smashed into one. Definitely has a more difficult mobbing section because you're getting a lot more of those vile crystal enemies throughout it, while also having, you know, modifiers in there and everything like that. And then you have the final primordial guardian boss to fight, which, you know, all three of them in the world I think are absolutely amazing. I'm actually very upset that they did not add more of these throughout the world, just because these bosses are absolutely, like, first off, visually amazing, and then the mechanics of them are also really fun to kind of like work with. I would love to see them push this farther and add a lot more of these later in the future. We also have specializations, which I do kind of consider part of the end game because this is adding to your build crafting. It requires a lot more leveling and a lot more pushing, so you're able to get these little nodes throughout and then, you know, socket them so that you're able to add to your build. I definitely like this as well. Biggest problem with this is it costs 5,000 iridium to reset this tree, and yeah, that's awful. Like, that's straight up awful and needs to change. It is not conducive to build crafting at all. It is very hard to get iridium. You essentially have to no life bounties just to get that alone. I know good friend Jolt's dude was running a lot of bounties throughout our early access. He ended up getting like 25,000 iridium, but I mean, he literally spent days upon days just farming those bounties just to get that number. And I don't think that's conducive to build crafting. They absolutely need to lower that number like significantly. I think 5,000 is just crazy number to suspect for people. I think like 250 would be good, because essentially at this point I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to 5,000 and then I'm going to just copy my save like 10 different times, so that I'm able to, you know, do different builds and work around those and be able to just, you know, be able to reset my specialization depending on exactly what that build is. And even then, it's not going to be guaranteed for me that that's going to work out for my setup, you know? So definitely want them to fix this portion, lower the iridium costs for specializations. And now we're going to go into probably the worst entire part of the end game, and that is going to be the weekly wildcard missions. They are, I mean, it hurts my brain, man. Like, I don't really know what to say about this. This is essentially what's supposed to be what you are farming all week as your hardest end game. And essentially what it is a regular story mission on that, you know, hard level. And it has 3 different modifiers that most enemies will have constantly on them. For this week, it was Tricky, which drops down a bunch of grenades whenever the enemy dies. Centripetal, which same thing, whenever the enemy dies, it creates this black hole that pulls you in and constantly damages you. And then Immovable, where they're kind of just more sturdy and not going to really fight back as hard. But that Centripetal one is, it's the biggest issue. So many enemies, like basic mobs throughout that world, are constantly having that Centripetal activate on kill. And it is just like ripping you around the entire time. It is not fun. It's straight up not fun. And it's not even like it's like a, oh, we're trying to challenge you and like push your build and stuff like that. Like, no, this is not good. This is not how you design your end game. You don't just like throw a bunch of modifiers on us and be like, oh, that's you know, that's our challenge here. It should be something more like, again, we had with the takedowns or the vault bosses themselves, where it is long sections of, you know, mobbing. You have like usually like a mid boss or something like that with mechanics that, you know, you have to overcome to defeat said boss, do some more mobbing, and then have like a final boss. The takedowns were the pinnacle of Borderlands endgame content. And I mean, I'd say even raid bosses as well. Raid bosses are great too, but I think those takedowns definitely take the cake for me. But the wildcard missions are far from that. Now, I will say a really good part about these wildcard missions is the fact that once you finish it, you're not only going to get legendary XP, iridium, money, but you're also going to get a guaranteed drop for a specific legendary for that week. For me, when I was doing this, it was the Rainbow Puke shotgun, Jacob's shotgun. Absolutely, I mean, I think it's my favorite gun in the entire game, so like that's a really positive aspect. But the fact that that is the singular endgame content that we have is insane to me. I want them to almost keep this, but I just want more alongside it. And know that while I've been, you know, having like my early access and stuff, I've been kind of feeling this. I was like, oh my gosh, this end game, like they did so good with the story and like the base like missions and the vaults and stuff like that. And then end game comes around and do they just absolutely drop the ball? I mean, they practically just throw the ball into a pit of lava. It's just the same mistakes that we had from Borderlands 3, where game launched. Essentially, the end game content was farming Graveward nonstop. People would try to do proving grounds and they were so easy. There was just like nothing, like there was no challenge to that at all. And then eventually, you know, down the road, we had the free updates for the takedowns and everything, and there was like, oh, finally have something to do. And for here, it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go do this mission. Yeah, I'm gonna get a guaranteed legendary that I won, but I have to absolutely suffer the entire time and not have fun. But like I said, while I've been playing this, I've been like, oh, hey, this endgame's not good. And then we got a trailer on the September 5th, for the end game, and at the end it showed a raid boss. I was absolutely racking my brain. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been playing this for days and I have not been able to see this raid boss. Where is it? I was messaging developers asking about it, and then we got confirmation from Graham Timmons that, you know, this is for post launch. And that honestly upset me so much. I got to be real. Like, I love Gearbox, I love everybody that I've been able to interact with over there. But the fact that we kind of had this non-intentional rug pull with that, and they were like, oh, this is coming later. It's just like, guys, come on. I can see in front of me right now this raid boss. You clearly have it done. Put it in the base game. Just put it in the base game. If this base game had one invincible in it, we would be absolutely gravy. Like, I would have no complaints about endgame. I'd probably change my final review that I said in my full review. I had to give it like a 7 out of 10. I'd probably give it like an 8.5 out of 10. It would instantly be way better for me. Essentially, knowing that I'm going to have to spend my end game only pretty much just build crafting and then running weekly missions to get a specific weapon that I may or may not like is just not good. Also, the fact that we've already gotten confirmation that they're not going to be bringing back takedowns at all. And they're like, oh, hey, this is kind of like built into, the game already and certain activities we're doing and stuff. Like, what activities are you talking about? Is it the vaults? Because, like, yeah, I love the vaults, but they're much closer to a proving ground than they are a takedown. And there's no way to scale up the difficulty on a lot of those vaults as well, so that I can, maybe feel a little bit more of a challenge. Like, I would almost take a vault with all of these different modifiers that we have in the weekly wildcard missions, just because it'd give me a little bit more challenge. And you're definitely going to be experiencing that as you're going through while you're leveling up your Ultimate Vault Hunter level. There's going to be different activities you have to do at certain levels of Ultimate Vault Hunter. Like, go kill X boss or kill that X boss. And then, oh, you have a new mission available at a specific person who I don't want to spoil yet, but it's gonna be pretty obvious once you get to the end game who this person is. They've kind of already accidentally revealed them as well, but again, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But you go talk to the specific person, and then you got to do another wildcard mission, and then that will upgrade your Ultimate Vault Hunter level. But again, when you're doing those wildcards, it's going to be just essentially a basic mission with a bunch of modifiers added on top of it. I really just want to like play the end game and not play the modifiers. And unfortunately, like I at first wasn't like too upset about them like kind of using modifiers as end game, just because again, it added a level of difficulty. But again, I was expecting to have takedown level content, a lot of vaults to go through, justify that, and not, here's just another weekly, mission that you've already played. But now all these guys have black holes that they drop whenever, they die. Again, I'm trying to stay as positive as humanly possible when it comes to this, just because I know, okay, the story was really good, the Vault Hunters feel good, the loot feels good, all those things. What I want to use with them? I want to use them on endgame. And unfortunately, there's just no endgame. But luckily, endgame is something that they can add into the game later on. Our experience with Borderlands 3 was, hey, it had a really bad story, but by the end of the game, it had a really solid endgame. But, a lot of people were turned off almost immediately just because of the story. Luckily, with Borderlands 4, the story is really good, but again, we're kind of just at that beginning spot where the end game isn't there. But at least they can add that later on to help, get us back into the game. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you're interested in seeing, whether it's Vex, Rafa, Harlow, or Amon. What's your opinion of the end game so far? What have you experienced? I really would like to know. You can also subscribe, become a member, and follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Birdman778. Again, know that I'm likely streaming right now over on my Twitch channel, so swing on by there. Let me know what you thought of this endgame kind of ranty review video. And yeah, I'm really hoping for the best. I know Gearbox has gotten this feedback from literally every single human being that has done early access, and likely is going to be getting the same feedback from everybody at launch as well. Until then, guys, appreciate you, and I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.